Steve Gamache here with another Chef Knives to Go quick look product review. And in this episode, we are looking at the Masakage Koishi Santoku 170mm knife. This line of knives has a core steel of aogami, or what's known as blue paper aogami super, reactive high carbon steel from Hitachi. This can be taken to a pretty high hardness, so they've taken it to around 64 Rockwell, so it's pretty hard. The construction is a soft stainless cladding over the top of that aogami super core, and the cladding, as we'll see, has a hammered finish, what is known as a tsushime finish, and it's also got a kurauchi covering on top of that, or blacksmith finish. And the weight is 126 grams, 4.4 ounces on this knife. It's pretty light. The edge length, these will vary a little bit. Everything's going to vary a little bit from knife to knife since they're handmade. This particular one's about 172 on the edge, or 6.8 inches, and that's from tip to chin. The overall length, about 12.4 inches. Spine thickness, again, these will vary, but this one coming out of the handle over the back of the blade is about 3.5 millimeters, and it tapers down off of that pretty quickly and then holds to something pretty much all the way till you get to the grind. There's not a lot of distal taper until you hit the grind of the blade down to the very tip. Blade height on this one at the heel is about 46 millimeters from edge to spine, and the handles are nicely done. They are octagonal, ambidextrous. Cherry wood with a black packwood ferrule, nice fit and finish on the handle, very smooth, good install, pretty tight install. This particular handle is a little under the 3-inch mark, which fits the size of this blade, so it's about 72 millimeters circumference right here, and which you can see the size of that. Out of the box edges, all the Masakages I've had have had very good out-of-box edges, and this is no exception. It's very, very sharp. I'll give it a full-out 7 out of 10. It's a really nice edge on this knife. Let's take a close-up look. These are bad-looking blades. These things, I've said it before in the forums, they look like they'll eat other knives for breakfast. They just are bad-looking blades, and they are really cool. So you've got your core steel showing through behind the cladding there at the very edge. There's your edge bevel on it, nice and shiny. And then you've got the hammered finish. You do have chiseled kanji on this side that's nicely done, but the KU finish does mute that a little bit because it fills in some of that texture to it, but it is definitely there. You've got a beautiful hammered finish, what's known as a kind of a river pebble look, which is the Koishi name. And these are ground pretty thin at the edge. I don't know if I'd classify these as beginner knives. I'd say you want to know what you're doing a little bit, or have good gentle technique, learn proper technique with these. They get quite thin at the edge, and the steel is hard, so they take appropriate technique for proper use. We'll get a look at the profile on a cutting board in a second. Fit and finish is really nice on these. You've got a polished spine to contrast that dark KU finish, so it's a cool contrast look. And you've got a relieved choil from the back of the blade into the handle. Yeah, they've got their kind of signature curve into the neck into the handle. And you've got a great spot for a pinch grip. These are really oriented, I think, around a pinch grip. Balance point, I'm going to back off the focus here a little bit, is just pretty close to a pinch grip, maybe slightly behind. And handles are really nice. This is a great blade. Let's take a look at it on the cutting board. These hold an edge a long time. The steel's really good in these. Let's take a look. So here's your profile, kind of a typical Santoku profile, a little bit of a curve throughout, not super duper flat like a Nikiti would be, but just a good kind of general Santoku profile. And I can get this particular one, it varies a little bit on how they do the tips, but this one I can get pretty high on. So you could easily rock with this, and it'll be good for a variety of techniques. If you're a pure chopper, maybe not, but real smooth profile on this, nicely ground, just a super knife. So this is a great line of knives from Masakage. So if you're looking for a really interesting high performance Santoku that's got a really cool, awesome, bad look to it, this is the Masakage Koishi Santoku 170mm knife.